Ecclesiastes is one of the most extraordinary books in the Bible. It's as if God said to Solomon, I want you to pour out your heart as I inspire you to do so. And share your journey, share all the things that as a philosopher, as a wise man, you've gone through in trying to understand things. And we get it. We get this book right here in the middle of our Bibles where it again and again, it talks about things being vanity, all is vanities. And it's giving us the observation of someone writing under the power of the Holy Spirit. And we believe it to be Solomon because of the way it begins. It begins the words of the teacher, son of David, king of Jerusalem. But it really is extraordinary. It's like, this is the journey. This is what we go through. And it's a picture in a sense that if you're not living in the fullness and the goodness of God, everything just seems to be empty. But there's a turning point in Ecclesiastes. And we find that turning point in chapter 5 and verse 18, because this is almost like he's reached a conclusion. But you have to work at it to spot what's at the heart of this conclusion. It says this at the end of chapter 5 in verse 18, "This is what I have observed to be good, that it is appropriate for a person to eat, to drink, and to find satisfaction in their toilsome labor under the sun during the few days of life God has given them, for this is their lot." Now, initially that sounds pretty, downhearted, almost downbeat, doesn't it? This is their lot. This is what they've got to put up with. It's toil, it's hard. But in the midst of it, there's this phrase, find satisfaction. In the midst of it, to find satisfaction in their toilsome labors, to find satisfaction. And it reminds me, when Paul is writing, he says, godliness with contentment is great gain. And we're given a clue there as to something that could be totally transformative. That contented spirit that says, yeah, I'm living my life before God, but I'm doing so contentedly. And when you come into that place of contentment, things start to turn around. This is what really is happening in Ecclesiastes. When you reach a point where you're satisfied, you're contented, there's something that no longer is that restless, driven disappointment. You start discovering gain. I know that I see it in terms of the way that Paul has written, that godliness with contentment is great gain. But it's the same thing here, isn't it, really? That once we've come to that point where we've understood something of God's heart, that he's not just thrusting things upon us, but he actually wants us to reach a place of contentment, then suddenly everything changes. It's like a new day dawns. It's a whole new way of seeing things, a whole new way of living. So when you're reading Ecclesiastes and you're going through this journey of Solomon's as he's trying to get to the heart of things from observation, you find that actually having a sense of satisfaction in the midst of everything is a real key. And I'm telling you, that's something that only God can bring. It comes from knowing that we're doing his will, that we've embraced his godliness, and that we can be satisfied in whatever we're called to do and whatever our lot happens to be.